Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you after a 4-2 Rangers loss to the Twins. It wasn't great, especially in that, eighth inning was it? The eighth inning was not great for the Texas Rangers. Looked promising, 2-1 lead. Evo coming out for yet another one in the eighth, trying to at least get the Rangers to the ninth spot. Maybe they can somehow pull it off, but alas, errors once again, I would say, doom the Rangers in this one. We're going to get into everything here in just a little bit, y'all. Coming at you late night once again. I'll tell you what, that eighth inning happened. And just being real, I said to myself, I'm going to take my time, go out to eat with the family, enjoy the evening a little bit before I hop on. Then I decided to switch things up a little bit with my streaming platform. So, using something a little bit different tonight. Hope it goes okay. Drop it in the comments. Let me know if anything is amiss, but hopefully everything will go smooth tonight. Now, one thing that we do before we always get started, you kind of know the drill if you've been here for a little while, but here at Ride on Rangers, we cover everything sports, but we put a big emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers and especially the Rangers during baseball season. Thank you for joining us tonight. As always, coming at you with post game analysis, rain or shine, win or loss. Thank you for choosing Right on Rangers for all of your Texas Rangers content. We appreciate y'all greatly. All right, let's get into it. So, the Rangers tonight, they take an early lead as they have really the past, three games? You consider the past three games, the Rangers have taken the lead in the first, second inning, scored first, drawn first blood, and it's kind of gone all downhill from there. Um, I mean, that is definitely a recipe for success. Don't get me wrong, but the Rangers have not been able to tack on late, have not been able to add runs late, and it ultimately has cost them in really all three of these games. You were up 2-0 on Thursday night. You were up 1-0 last night. I believe 1-0 again tonight. And it goes to show the Rangers kind of all season long. They've been having this issue, having this problem. And I don't think that we're going to be seeing a lot of changes down the stretch. I think that the Rangers are kind of what they are at this point in the season. You're going to see a few runs squeak across. You're going to see the Rangers absolutely score some runs at the beginning of baseball games. But towards the end, I don't know. This team just cannot consistently put them across late in games. And it ultimately is the team's demise at this point. We're going to keep on rolling here. We're going to get into everything, but appreciate all of y'all tuning in. What's up to everybody on TikTok who has joined? I appreciate you guys. Everybody on YouTube, X, Instagram. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Wish we could be coming at you under better circumstances, but here we are. Rangers again dropped this one actually by a score of 5-2. Forgot about that extra run that got tacked on late in the top of the ninth inning. Rangers were up at one point, 2-1 in this one. It was 1-0. It was 2-1. And after that, a whole lot of nothing until the eighth inning. And let's actually just jump right into that eighth inning, shall we? Let's jump into it. In the eighth inning, we had Nate Eovaldi, who had an excellent game. Really feel bad for Evo in this one. Evo goes out there for the eighth inning. Up to that point, it was 7 innings pitched. Believe he had only given up 5 hits at that point in the top of the seventh inning, or excuse me, in the top of the eighth inning. And the way that it went from there, you had a single to lead off, 2 singles to lead off. So Evo going into that inning had only allowed, I believe, a total of 3 hits. And then the Twins decided to play some small ball, and you had Austin Martin bunting and able to reach. And so the bases are loaded, 3 straight hits. Evo dominated the first 7 innings of this game. No walks, 3 hits, and 1 earned run. And that was, of course, on the home run early on in the game. Evo, though, excellent, outstanding. Couldn't have asked for really anything more from him. But Nate Eovaldi going back out for the 8th inning didn't quite have the same sharpness that he had all game long. David Robertson in tow comes into the game, immediately gives up a single, 99 miles an hour off the bat, line drive into center field. And from there, it was a bunch of little league BS. Let's just call it like it is. Leote, in my opinion, has had a tough time throwing the baseball consistently, accurately at different spots in this season. And, with the defensive metrics, all that, I don't feel always account for the times Leote misses cutoffs, the times Leote doesn't have an accurate throw. I don't feel like we really have an ultimate true opinion looking at stats on Leote and his defensive metrics. I don't know. I know he rates as an average to above average fielder, but consistently, very consistently, you see Leote miss throws on cutoffs, on plays to the plate, and on tonight, it was a play to third base. Leote with a terrible throw to third base. Of course, you're not throwing home there. Really not a great chance to catch the runner at home. You had a situation where you had an opportunity to get an out, and I think Leote made the right play throwing to third base. Feel like maybe he got caught a little bit in between, if I had to guess. A little bit in between. Am I firing to the cutoff? Am I firing straight to third base? And it ended up being an absolutely terrible throw. So we have Josh Young as well, not really having the wherewithal to get in front of the play. I know he was trying to scoop and quickly tag, but you just can't have that baseball go into the dugout. Cannot happen. At worst, you block that ball. You see how off target it is. You block it. You keep the runner at third base. And from that point on, you've got a 1-run game. If that runner would not have scored on the ball in the dugout, it's a 1-run game. It's 3-2 and not good. And the chances are not good that the Twins would not have gotten that runner home anyways at some point. A lot of different ways to score a runner from third and from second with, at that point, no outs. So I'm not saying that it was going to be an easy road from there on to keep those runners from scoring anyways. But at least you give yourself a shot. Perhaps you walk the next guy, you have bases loaded, and you're looking to get force outs. But the I don't want to say it was an overthrow. The bad throw by Leote, compounded by Josh Young not being able to get in front or scoop that baseball. It's a total meltdown. And Leote attributed with the error. I thought Josh Young could have easily been given an error there too for how he handled the ball. I think Josh Young could have had a much better effort there, getting in front, scooping that baseball, and making sure that it didn't go in the dugout. I mean, Josh Young is an outstanding third baseman. I think even he would tell you that is a play that he has to make, regardless of the bad throw. It wasn't a bad enough throw that Josh Young couldn't have gotten in front of it. So I give a little bit of blame to both. I know that Leote takes the technical error in that one. I think you could have easily split it. I know they don't do half errors in major leagues, but I sure would like to see it on some plays. That one, you could have given it to either one of them, I felt like. Josh Young for the way he handled it, and Leote for how off track it was. And look, it wasn't the deepest throw, it wasn't the longest throw to make. I think Leote just gets caught in between. Do I hit the cut? Do I throw all the way? kind of looking at the guy running home as well. He didn't have a shot to get the runner that was going to score the go-ahead run, but I think he just got caught in between all three of those options. Throwing right to third, trying to throw home, trying to hit the cut. And I think what you got is the exact result that happened. A terrible throw. Josh Young not able to get in front. Feel bad for David Robertson. I think Robertson definitely deserves blame. Gave up a scorching single there, but you feel like the past few times Robertson has been out, they've kind of kicked the ball around and haven't had their best defensive efforts. So I really do feel like, yeah, give the blame to Robertson for giving up the base knock. You want to strike out there or something weak to the infield. You want weak contact there. And a 99-mile-an-hour line drive, it can't be what you're going for. I mean, and that is obviously the understatement of the year. But David Robertson deserves some blame. But it easily could have been a one-run game with the potential for Robertson to work his magic, pull out another rabbit, do the Houdini act like he's done at multiple points this season. But terrible meltdown there. You hate for the defense to melt down in the eighth inning and for that to be the reason you lose. But when the offense is so terrible and the offense is just so unable to score late in games, especially, this is what you're going to get. Razor thin margins for error. And when the errors do happen, it costs you the game. So we're going to get to comments here. Check out what y'all got. Appreciate all y'all tuning in. Aaron, what's up, my guy? Stats are all in Messenger. Okay, cool. Excellent. I will definitely look those up, see if I can do that on the fly. If I can't, for whatever reason, I'll check them out later, make sure I incorporate them into the next one. But thanks for tuning in, bud. Appreciate your support as always. I read on one of the Facebook groups, someone said it would not surprise them if Semien and Seager asked to be traded after this year. Don't think they would, but who would want to take on their contracts? Yeah, Natalie, I think that you sifted through that one well. I don't know who would want to take on Seager's or Semien's contract. I don't know why Seager or Semien would really want to be traded. I think 2025 is going to be a great year. Sounds kind of like that person, whoever it is that's posting, sounds like some clickbait to me. I think most guys have been around, especially guys like Semien and Seager. They know that you do have up and down years. Obviously, there's franchises like the Dodgers who are perennially great because of the amount of money that they have. But the way I see it with Seager, especially, Seager had an opportunity to stay with the Dodgers. Could have taken it. Could have gotten paid a nice sum of money. He didn't want to stay with LA. So you just won a World Series with the Rangers. I think Corey is happy in Texas. From all accounts, I mean, he's a very private guy, but I just can't see either one of those guys bailing because of one bad year. I think they understand there were injuries this season. There was quite a bit going on this season with the roster not going according to plan. I would really, really be surprised if one of them ended up asking for a trade. Aaron, this is in reference to my point about Leote and the defense. Aaron says, I said the exact same on a Leote play in the Red Sox series where he was the direct cause of a run scored. He doesn't have good baseball instincts. I know Leote rates as a pretty good defender. A lot of Leote apologists throw that out there whenever you criticize his play. And I've gone back and forth with a number of them. There's a lot of people that don't want to see Leote criticized or really any Rangers player criticized. Y'all know on the show, I'm not over the top with the criticism, but I tell it like it is. And I usually will point out pretty clear evidence and stats to back it up. These aren't just hot takes that I'm throwing out there without any support. With Leote, there's just too many mental mistakes, whether it's getting picked off on the base paths like he did multiple times towards the beginning of the season. It's bad routes to the baseball. It's bad throws to home plate or to a cutoff or to a base trying to get an out. For me, I can't see Leote in the long-term plans at all. And with that being said, as I mentioned on the live last night, if Leote truly isn't in your long-term plans, why are you continuing to give him playtime past September? Or excuse me, past the end of August, to be a little bit more specific. I really do feel if they are out of it, which I think they pretty much are, y'all. I mean, what Aaron threw up a stat for us the other day, point something chance. I mean, what 0.2 chance? I think that's what it was. So 0.2% chance we're going to make the playoffs. That probably went down to 0.1 after tonight's loss. I think it's time in September to stop playing Leote. He's not going to be your long-term answer in the outfield. Give one of the minor league guys a shot. I'm not saying that it's going to go well. I'm not saying we have a minor league outfielder that is going to come up and contribute at the major league level. But what I am saying is, can we please give somebody else a shot? It's clear that Leote is not going to be our center fielder for the next 3-4 years. I think there are going to be other guys that step up and fill that, whether it's Evan Carter, Wyatt Langford. But regardless, I am giving somebody else Leote's playing time come September. I don't see how you can continue to give him the ABs unless you really think he's going to be around long term. I don't see any other reason why they would do it. No other reason. Season's definitely over for the Rangers in terms of playoff hopes. Now we just got to look forward to next year. Although Noah, let's be real, the Yankees aren't winning the World Series, buddy. I hate to burst your bubble. Yankees aren't winning the World Series. You can go ahead and book that one. They ain't winning. They don't have the pitching to win the World Series. All they got is Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. That's one bad series away from getting swept. So, hate to break it, but you keep on thinking Yanks are going to win it all this year. I would heavily, strongly say no. But we'll see what happens. That's why they play the game. A lot of people said the Rangers weren't going anywhere. But it would shock me if the Yankees won the World Series this year. Just because it looks good in the regular season doesn't mean it's going to play in October. And the Yankees, let's be honest, they can't beat the Astros. So if they got to see the Astros in the playoffs, you know it's over. Doesn't even matter. They just can't beat the Astros. So I'm really not even worried about the Yankees right now. They might not even make it to the Astros, but we'll see. I'm still going to be watching in October, even if the Rangers are out of it. Love me some October baseball, but I'll be cheering hard against the Yankees. They have plenty of championships. They don't need no more. Yankees don't have enough pitching to win the World Series anyways. They've got Garrett Cole and a box of rocks after that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm going for World Series, by the way. I've had a couple people that are asking me. Couple people have thrown out a few different options for World Series. I would say for me, it's got to be either Dodgers or I'm going to go Orioles. One of those two. That would be my prediction. We'll see what happens. Dodgers or Orioles. Not necessarily crazy picks, but that's what I'm going with. Let me keep going. Let me go through some of the box score stuff. I'm going to check TikTok out. Thanks for being patient with me, y'all. So we've got, who are we getting in the draft? I don't know. I've been looking a little bit more. It's kind of a bummer, but at the same time, it kind of gives me something to look forward to. But right now, I am watching MLB draft position, especially now that the Rangers are dropping some games. I am definitely watching who is going to get what spot, where the Rangers are at, all that stuff. So I use Tankathon pretty much for all this stuff, whether it's NFL, NBA. So right now, Texas looks like would have the 5th pick in the draft in 2025. And I think they've got a couple teams that are fairly close behind right now. So like Toronto is right behind them at 57 and 66. I don't think the Rangers are going to be bad enough that any of these teams way below are going to catch them. So there's Miami, there's Colorado, the Chicago White Sox. I don't know. It's saying on Tankathon, I don't know how accurate this is. It's saying that they're ineligible to pick better than 10th due to previous lotteries, market size, and revenue sharing rules. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Maybe. But right now, it says Colorado, Miami, LA, Washington, Texas for the draft order. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. But that is where it's at right now. We're going to be probably top 5. And it's another reason why I say you might want to consider bringing up a minor league guy to take reps away from Leote. It's kind of like, you know what? It's a win-win in my opinion. You either get and solidify a high draft pick by doing that, or you find some gold in a minor league outfielder that you called up in September and gave some playing time to, a la Evan Carter. Even though Evan Carter's was under a little bit of different circumstances, Evan Carter was a highly touted prospect, the number one prospect in the organization. But I see it as a win-win to take some ABs away from some of the veteran guys that aren't going to be a part of the club's long-term plans. You either solidify the draft position or you have some guys step up that give you something to look forward to for next year. So for me, I'm going to start keeping my eye on the draft order. Right now, Rangers looks like are heading towards a top 5 draft pick for next year. Hey, there we go. That'll work. So that's going to be, I think, the next thing to start watching, especially if the Rangers keep dropping games. LA right now is at 53 wins. The Rangers are at 56. Washington Nationals are at 55. And all these teams at the bottom are on losing streaks mostly. Miami's lost 3 in a row. Washington has lost 4 in a row. Rangers have lost 3 in a row. So it is pretty ugly down here at the bottom. It's ugly down here at the bottom, but you know what? You got to look at the bright spots. Hopefully, the Rangers can get a nice pick out of it in next year's draft if they are truly going to continue on this slide. I think we got to look forward to that. Aaron, you're going Phillies and you're going Guardians or Orioles. Phillies definitely aren't a bad pick. I think the Phillies have the roster, have the talent. I think I could see the Phillies in it. Feels like the Phillies, they are always there. I mean, they were NLCS last year. Of course, they made it all the way to the World Series a couple years back against the Stros. So the Phillies are always there. Pretty good pick, I would say. Again, my pick, I think Orioles or Dodgers, especially if the Dodgers can get all the way healthy. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be fun. October baseball, always a blast. Clearly 1,000 times better when the Rangers are in it, but I always find a way to get into it. And I always find myself cheering for somebody, even if they're not my team. Comment here from Natalie. They were saying on the broadcast that if something were to happen to Jonah or Carson, that Langford would catch or would be the third catcher if needed. There you go. Hey, Wyatt Langford can do it all, I guess. Hey, Carson Kelly, we haven't talked a lot of game tonight. I'm a little bit depressed from tonight's game. I'm not going to lie to you guys. And there's not a ton of bright spots beyond Nate Eovaldi, who I already mentioned, who I thought pitched phenomenally. They're asking him to go, I think, probably a little bit more than they should have there. Look, I actually like the Evo send out to the 8th. I like that move. I think after the first or second hit, they probably should have pulled him. So, Evo allows 2 singles back to back. I think that's probably the time to pull. I don't think that you hang him out to dry and give him a third batter at that point. But the bullpen being so depleted, Bochy is trying to let his guy work out of it. But I think that was the mistake tonight, not to send Evo back out for the 8th inning, but to continue to allow him to be out there after he had given up back-to-back hits to start the 8th. So that would be my one complaint tonight. Just left Evo out a little bit too long. but I thought he pitched outstanding tonight, gave the Rangers a great chance to win. Tough spot for Robertson. He gets the blown save tonight. He did give up a scorcher almost immediately, but Robertson has definitely been a little bit down. I think he is maybe hitting a spot in the season where there's a little bit of fatigue. They've used him a lot. They've asked a lot of him. You wonder if there's a little bit of that going on. Pennington came in, gave up a hit, gave up a walk after a couple of sharp outings in a row. He did not have the same stuff tonight either. Leclerc does come in and get 2 outs to shore up the rest of the game. And on the offensive side, we were talking about catchers. Natalie brought up Wyatt Langford being the third catcher. I really like what I'm seeing from Carson Kelly. Carson Kelly with the 2 RBIs tonight. Rangers scored 2 runs. I like what I'm seeing from Kelly. Like I said, I really would not mind if the Rangers re-signed Kelly. He's a rental guy for this year. He'll be a free agent. I wouldn't mind if they re-signed him. I think that would be a very sensible thing to do. You've got Jonah Heim. You've got kind of the defensive guy. And not that Heim can't get hot offensively at times. We know Heim has power. We know Heim has the capability to drive in runs. But that being said, Carson Kelly, kind of your offensive guy that maybe, like tonight, could DH from time to time. You split those guys so you keep them well rested. I think an offseason with Carson Kelly, for the pitchers to get comfortable with him, I think that will go a long way. I would love to see them re-sign Carson Kelly. I don't know if there's a lot of other great options out there at catcher. I don't think that you can go with another look, I don't want to get rude, but I don't think you can go with a bum. I don't think you can go with a bottom of the barrel free agent dude. I think you got to go get a guy, a catcher that can hit, right, that can produce. I just don't think that you can afford to go get another Andrew Kisner type. And, I'm not calling Andrew Kisner a bum, but the stats were terrible. They were terrible. So I don't want to go out and get another Kisner type. I want to go out and get a guy that has a proven success track record with the bat. And Carson Kelly appears to be that right now. So I'd love for the Rangers to go out and re-sign him. Aaron, let's see here. One problem with that, bud. They released Hill. Only other outfielder on the 40-man is Dustin Harris. Their other outfielders have not really impressed. Hatcher is all right, but 26 like Fabian. So Dustin Harris is the only other outfielder on the 40-man. So the only one really eligible to be called up, right? For anybody that's not super roster savvy here, which I know some casual fans definitely not. Even I don't always understand all the transaction rules and everything like that. I learn on the fly, I feel like. But that's a good point. So Dustin Harris, what kind of season is he having in AAA? Let's see if I can look that up real quick. So Dustin Harris, let's see if he's having any kind of a decent year this year. So Harris on the year, 281 average, 9 bombs, 42 RBI, 30 stolen bases, 366 OBP. Aaron, this sounds like a guy we want to have up on the team. I think I said last night, I want a guy that gets on base, not an all or nothing hitter. Dustin Harris sounds like the type of player that we need. A guy that can steal some bases, has some intangibles, isn't just a big hit or bust kind of guy. So I really wouldn't mind seeing a guy like Dustin Harris come up and get some reps. I think that would be extremely valuable. So I'm a fan of the Harris call-up in September, and for Harris potentially being able to get some playing time over a guy like Leote. I think that would be very ideal. I hope that it happens. I would be all in supportive of a move like that. Now, who knows if it'll happen? I'm not going to be shocked if they just let Leote ride it out. But I absolutely would like to see Harris at least get a shot. He was up last season, huh? Aaron is saying Harris was up last season, but didn't really look that great. Let's look at the numbers from last year. Harris MLB stats. Let's see what we got. So Dustin Harris, he played. Let me see here. Aaron, did he get a call up? I'm not seeing any major league stats here. Maybe let me go here. No, he hadn't debuted yet in the majors, right? At least what I'm looking up right now, it says no stats available when I go to MLB. So doesn't look like Harris has any stats in the major leagues, at least maybe this year or last year. But I'm on the career tab right now. I'm just on MLB.com. I'm on the career tab and I'm on MLB and it says no stats available. So maybe Harris got the call up, but didn't get any ABs. So we'll see. I really would like to see Harris nonetheless. I think he's having a good year in AAA. Let's see what he's got. It can't be worse than Leote, can it? Even if he hits he's got to hit 230. He's got to hit 225-ish to be worse than Leote. I think it might be fun to have Dustin Harris come up. We'll see what happens. We shall see. Let me keep going. So tonight we had Simeon Seager 1 for 4, Langford 1 for 4, Young 1 for 4. That's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk some Josh Young tonight. So obviously with Josh Young, you had the error that got charged to Leote, but I put a little bit of that on Young for sure. And the way he handled that throw from Leote, I think he could easily have gotten an error in that spot. But I think what we're seeing, and maybe this is going to come off a little I told you so, but that's okay. That's okay. You know, a lot of people were really excited, rightfully so, myself included, about Josh Young coming back. But I think it's been enough games. I really do. I think it's been enough games to be able to say Josh Young clearly was not the savior that a lot of fans hoped he was going to be when he came back to this lineup. Josh Young, over his last 15 games or so, he hadn't been terrible. It's not bad, but hitting 220 in your last 15 games, hitting 207 in your last 7 games. Josh Young, in his last 7 games, no walks, 11 strikeouts. Josh Young, not in a great place hitting-wise right now, and maybe there's some arguments out there. It's going to take him a while to get back into it. He's been out for so long. Maybe you can go with that argument, but I don't know. I think Josh Young has been back long enough that we can absolutely make somewhat of a call with him. And I think at this point, I think it's fair to say he was not the answer to this Rangers lineup. And I know that they were hoping that he might be when they were at the trade deadline. They were hoping Josh Young back is going to make a difference. It's kind of like getting an ad at the trade deadline. It just wasn't meant to be with him coming back and just lighting it up. He had a few nice moments here and there, but Josh Young has not been good since coming back. And for him to make some mistakes out in the field as well, it's just kind of a double whammy. I'm not saying Josh Young is trash or Josh Young is not going to figure it out at some point. But I think it's fair to say we were right on Josh Young is not going to save this offense. We've been saying that pretty much the whole summer. I felt like the Rangers always needed to add a bat, that Josh Young coming back was not going to be what jump-started this offense. And I hate to be right, but it does appear that that is what it's going to be. I can only hope that Josh Young gets hot and has a great rest of his 2024. I think the worst possible thing that could happen here with Josh Young is that he goes on this downward trajectory for the entire 2024, keeps hitting like he's hitting right now. And then we have a lot of questions going into 2025. I don't think Josh Young is going to lose his job, but I think you feel even more pressure now to go out and add some kind of offense. If Josh Young is struggling and continues to do so all the way through the end of the season, I think that drastically changes the offseason. I think now you're starting to look for some guys that have some pop in the infield maybe in free agency, maybe through trades. I don't know. It depends on what the mentality is of the front office, which they are notoriously tight-lipped. I just don't think you're going to get it out of them. But Josh Young struggling the rest of 2024 would be the worst thing. So, yeah, I know I'm kind of doing a little bit of I told you so-ing at this point, but I really don't hope Josh Young continues to struggle. I hope he figures it out, because if he doesn't, I think it adds even more questions to the Rangers offseason. And I don't know what the backup plan is. If Josh Young isn't the guy, I don't really think they have one. And I'm not saying right now that Josh Young isn't the guy. I think he's going to be the starter next year. But the worst thing that could happen is if he struggled all the rest of 2024, brings a lot of questions into the offseason, especially as you look at some free agents. Let me keep going here. Okay, Aaron, thank you. Yeah, JP Martinez, of course, we traded him to the Braves, and I don't think he's with the Braves anymore. I thought I saw that he got DFA'd or traded or something like that. But I think give Harris a try. Dustin Harris on the 40 man, hitting 280, 30 steals, 360 OBP. I think he's got to be at the top of the September call up list. Dustin Harris right now at AAA. Stop giving Leody ABs. We know what Leody can do. He's going to hit probably no better than 250 ever in a season. And he's going to give you shoddy defense at times. And he's not the most mentally sharp out there in comparison to other alternatives. I see a lot of mental mistakes from Leody. I'd much rather give Dustin Harris an opportunity. Tristan, what's up, man? Thanks so much for tuning in. Cowboys, I actually was watching a little bit of that game before I got on the live. We're not going to go off on the Cowboys too much right now. We'll save that for the fall. But right now, Cowboys are leading 13-12, although the Raiders are driving ball on the Dallas 36, 3rd and 5, fourth quarter upcoming here. So we'll keep our eye on that score. John, what's up, man? John says, I've forgotten what happened in the Ranger game tonight, watching the Cowboys now. Hey, look, I found myself doing the same thing. Like I said, after the Rangers lost, it was looking good. I was actually debating, like I said to y'all last night, getting on during the 8th or the 9th inning, but I watched the top of the 8th and I said, you know what? I think we're going to go out to dinner, do a little dinner with the fam, and we're going to watch that Cowboys game first quarter and kind of let the feelings subside a little bit from the Ranger game. And I'm glad that I did. I'm in a much better spot than I was a couple hours ago watching that 8th inning meltdown. But John, thanks for joining us, man. Evo did pitch great. He did pitch great. The 8th inning, I know what Boch is trying to do. You're trying to give Evo a little bit of a longer runway, save some bullpen arms. It just wasn't meant to be. Evo needed to get pulled after the second base hit to start the top of the 8th. Single, you need to pull him. Give Robertson first and second, nobody out, instead of bases loaded, nobody out. But Boch trying, just hoping that Evo can get that ground ball on the splitter, maybe a double play that just totally changes things. I can't blame Boch too much. I would have probably pulled Evo after the second base runner gets on back-to-back, but hindsight's 2020. I don't think that, considering everything, the bullpen being depleted, being where it's at right now, this did not feel like, to me, as egregious as, pulling Andrew Heaney a week ago, pulling Tyler Mahle a week ago, back-to-back games. This didn't feel as egregious to me, but in a perfect world, you pull Evo after he allows the first two base runners to get on. Maybe you give him that first base runner, say, all right, give me that little double play ball in the splitty. But they're trying to save some bullpen guys. Let me see here. What else? Robertson should have started the clean inning, and maybe we could have held on. Yeah, like I said, I think they're just trying to save Robertson. He's been worked a lot, but I'm always a fan, John. I think you and I are on the same page with this. I am always a fan. If you can, let guys come in with clean innings, even if they're seasoned vets like Robertson. Natalie says, ready for Carter to completely take over center, or do you think they will always platoon him? I think that they're going to probably platoon him coming out of the gate in 2025. If y'all have heard anything different, let me know. But I almost think that that's a lock that they're going to platoon him pretty much right out the gate, and then maybe they start giving him some chances. I wonder if they're going to watch how he does in spring training. Maybe give him some opportunities against lefties in spring training and say, dude, this is your audition. Spring training, let's see if you can hit lefties. And if he doesn't hit them, I see them starting out 2025 with him in a platoon role. That's why I said I think they got to go out and get an outfielder. You can't count on Evan Carter to be an everyday guy that's going to contribute with a 250 plus average every single day. I'm not gambling. I'm not betting on that. Am I hoping for that as a Rangers fan, as a diehard that loves the Texas Rangers? 1,000,000%. I am hoping that Evan Carter turns into an everyday guy that produces for us at the top of the lineup. He was our top prospect, and I hope that he continues to live up to it. But if I'm CY, I'm not banking on that. I'm not banking on Evan Carter coming back and being the dude that set the playoff world afire in October last season. I'm not banking on Dolly having a huge rebound season either. I'm being proactive. I'm going out and I'm getting an outfielder, one at minimum, maybe two, because you're getting rid probably of Grossman. I don't think they're going to bring Grossman back. I doubt they're going to bring Jankowski back after the season that he's had. Maybe. I mean, and everybody loves Eovaldi. Jankowski, a great guy. But with how bad Jankowski's been, I just can't see them bringing him back on any kind of deal. So you're going to have some outfield spots open. Leote, I think he might be gone next year. I don't know if they're going to bring Leote back. I think that Leote is not in the long-term plan. So how much longer do you really want to hold on to him? You drafted some outfielders. Again, if Leote's not in the long-term plans, play somebody else. Let Dustin Harris play. We'll see how he does. Follow up, Aaron says, Evan has to get his core much stronger to avoid continuing back problems that may derail his career. This hurt his season because they wanted to see if he's the guy in center, and it wasn't meant to be. Great summation there. My thoughts exactly. I've said for a long time, the back issues, I think, are a real deal issue, a real deal problem. And I really do think that it's something that I'm just not going to be shocked if he has some lingering issues in that department. A guy that you kind of have to be careful with. You have to give him those built-in off days. And he's 21 years old, y'all. That's what breaks my heart about Evan Carter. The dude is 21 dealing with back issues. It's just not good at this point in your career. 21 years old dealing with back issues. So, no, I don't think that they're going to have him, dude, you're the guy in center every day. I just can't see that happening in 2025. John just got that notification. O'Connell, I think, is the one who threw that pick six. And Antonio Pierce did say earlier this week, Raiders head coach, that they were going to make a decision on the quarterback. And you guys know out here in Vegas, that's pretty much all I get. I think I told y'all I'm pretty much old school and I get the paper every morning. I don't know. When I was growing up, I loved reading the sports page, checking the box scores. My stepdad, my dad were big paper guys. So I've just continued to do that myself. And out here in the paper, it is nothing but Raiders stuff. So I tune in a little bit. I can't say by any means that I'm a big Raiders fan. I casually keep my eye on them, but not a fan by any means. But, yep, I guess Gardner Minshew is probably going to be the guy. Did Minshew have a decent game for anybody watching? I'm just checking stats really quickly here before I get back to Rangers stuff. But looks like Minshew tonight went, there's Raiders. There we go. 10 for 21, 95. So not really. I mean, 10 for 21 is not ideal. Aiden O'Connell, 14 for 20. How's the Cowboys quarterbacks doing? Trey Lance, 11 for 17 with a touchdown. Deuce Vaughn, 5 carries, 34 yards. Trey Lance has 34 yards as well. Royce Freeman, 7 for 32. I don't know. Is Dak, by the way, just not playing at all? I think I feel like I haven't seen him too much in the preseason. Did they just decide not to play him in the preseason? I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments. I'll get back to Cowboys in a little bit. Natalie says that may have been why the Rangers drafted outfielders. Yeah, I do think that some of the outfielders that got drafted this year, insurance policies for guys like Evan Carter, I think they feel pretty good about Wyatt Langford, if I had to guess. I mean, I know I do. I think Wyatt's going to continue to get better, but you've got some holes. You don't know if Dolly is going to be around past next year. I would think probably not. I think the Rangers will probably either try to trade Adolis. That would probably be the smart move, would it not? So his contract is up after next year. Probably would be the right move to try and get some value out of him. Unless you're killing it and Dolly's hot in the middle of a World Series type season. But if it's going anything like it's going right now, I think you've got to try and get some trade value out of Dolly. I know I would. I don't know if they're going to be shopping him around this offseason, but my preference would be for them to start looking towards the future with the outfielders. With Dolly, I do not want them to bank on him rebounding. I don't feel like it's a very good likelihood that it is going to happen. If they decide to go with Dolly next year, he'll have my full support. I'll be behind him. But if he starts out like he did this year, I think they've got to have a much quicker plug pull. I think that was kind of the problem this year is the Rangers really sat on their hands at the beginning, didn't make a lot of lineup changes, lineup moves, just kept hoping and praying that all these guys that were slumping were going to come around. And I think it stifled them a little bit. Finally, in July, you saw Bochy start to make some different moves here and there. But I really, really feel like next year, if some of these guys get trotted back out there in starting roles, you have got to have a much shorter fuse, a much shorter tolerance and patience level for some of these Texas Rangers starters this year to continue to go out there and not perform at the standard that you're expecting. So there's my 2 cents on all things Rangers outfield for next year. Now, let's keep things going. So for tomorrow, Rangers looking to salvage a game. We'll see if they're able to do it. I don't know who the starting pitcher is offhand, but I'm going to look it up for y'all real quick. By the way, I was looking in the box score. Rangers were actually 2 for 4 with runners in scoring position today. How about that? Go figure. 2 for 4 with runners in scoring position. That's Carson Kelly. That's thanks to him, those 2 RBI that he had. Tomorrow, the Rangers will play at 1:35 Texas time, 11:35 out here for me in the morning. So we've got Pablo Lopez going for the Twins, Malley going for the Rangers. So Malley playing against his former team. That's a little spicy. I like that. Malley going up against his former team, the Minnesota Twins. Not a lot of guys on the Twins with numbers against Malley. There's a few guys. Jeffers, the catcher, 0 for 1. Kepler, 2 for 8. Larnach, the left fielder, 0 for 3. Margot, 2 for 4. Santana, 2 for 5 with a home run. Everybody else, no stats. And then on the other side, you've got Duran, 4 for 7 or 3 for 7 against Pablo Lopez. Adolis Garcia, 3 for 8 with a bomb. Jonah Heim, 1 for 6. Travis Jankowski, 3 for 3. Carson Kelly, 2 for 9 against Pablo Lopez, Twins probable starter for tomorrow. Nate Lowe, 3 for 8. Corey Seager loves hitting against Pablo. Siegs is hitting a robust 4 for 6 with 3 home runs and 4 RBI against Pablo Lopez in his career. Marcus Semien, 1 for 8 with a home run. Josh Smith, 2 for 6 in his career. And Leote, 2 for 8 with a home run. So Rangers have some good numbers against Pablo Lopez. We shall see what tomorrow's matchup has in store. Something tells me right here, talking to y'all right now, that the Rangers get this one, that they salvage at least one game. Look, I don't know if there's a lot to really point to. that would make you feel confident about them winning tomorrow, but it's just my gut feeling. So take that for what it's worth. I think the Rangers get one tomorrow. Don't know how they get it, whether it's a slugfest or whether they just eke it out, kind of like they've been doing at this point. But I think the Rangers get at least one win out of this series tomorrow. And then they head into next week looking to build off that one. We'll see what happens. Of course, on Monday, the Rangers will be hosting the Pirates for, I believe, a little 3-game set. Thursday is an off day. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Rangers will be facing the Pirates. Monday, Tuesday night games. And then looks like Wednesday is a little getaway day game. So 2 night games and a day game with the Pirates. Hopefully the Rangers can finish out the week strong tomorrow and build off of that heading into the Pirates series. That's got to be the plan at this point. All right, y'all. Yep. John, Mally goes tomorrow. Be fun to see him against his former team. I always like watching those matchups. It's happened a few times this year with the Rangers. Andrew Heaney going up against the Yankees, one of his former teams. It's just fun. I always like it. I like the dynamics there. So we will wrap up with our AL West roundup. Tell y'all how some of the other teams in the AL West did today. Mariners lose to the Pirates 7-2. Houston able to beat the White Sox tonight 6-1. And when we look at the standings in the AL West, it's not looking pretty, y'all. Rangers are now 11 games back, 12 and a half games back in the wild card. It is all but over. And I saw some numbers from a couple of Rangers beat writers, basically at this point, where the Rangers are at record-wise through 124 games. No other team with the Rangers' current record after 124 games. No team has ever gone on to make the playoffs having this record after 124 games. So I would say we can probably put a bow on the Rangers' playoff hopes, or a nail in the coffin is probably a better way to put it. But no other team being 56-68 after 124 games since 1961, when they did a 162 and first started a 162 game season. No team has had this bad of a record 124 games in and made the playoffs. So I would say all but over in terms of playoffs for the Rangers. Some of us have moved on and accepted that sooner than others. Look, until that says 0.00, I'm still saying the Rangers have the very smallest of chances. Let's see what the FanGraph standings are telling us for playoff odds right now. So we go to the Rangers. They have still a 0.2 chance to win the division and a 0.1 chance to win the wild card. They have a 0.3% chance to make the playoffs. Okay. So I guess you just add those 2.2 and 0.1s together and you get 0.3% chance to make the playoffs. However, their chance to win the World Series is at 0.0. Read into that however you will. But that is where the Rangers' playoff odds are at this point. All right, y'all. Rangers are painful to watch, Plex, man, but I appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate the support, y'all. Not easy to hang in there with the Rangers team that's playing this poorly, but we're doing it. We're making it happen. So at this point, we're going to start looking forward to tomorrow, flush this one out. How's that Cowboys game doing? If y'all want to talk more Rangers, drop it in the comments. Let's talk about something a little bit better. Although I got to tell y'all, the Cowboys offseason isn't making me feel very excited at all. Cowboys 20-12 though, pick 6. Looks like Raiders have it 2nd and 5 at the 50, about 10 minutes left. You got to feel pretty good about the Cowboys' chances at this point, I would think. It is just preseason. I got to be honest, I don't get into the preseason a ton with the Cowboys. I really don't, especially with Dak and some of the starters not really playing at all. I do wonder what's going to happen with CeeDee Lamb. It seems like the prudent thing to do would be to get his butt on the field and just pay him, but you don't know what these Cowboys front office people are going to do. I would not be shocked in the slightest if he ends up missing a game or two. I just wouldn't be. I don't think that that's what they should do, but it really does feel like with the Cowboys this year that they're pretty much saying, Dak, prove it. Prove that you can be the guy. I mean, Dak still has some decent weapons. You've got CeeDee Lamb if he comes back. You've got Ferguson. I really like Ferguson at the tight end position. I think that some of the wide receivers that they have behind Lamb, I could probably take or leave. Cooks. I mean, look, I just don't know if right now what the Cowboys have on offense is going to get it done. Not feeling good about the Cowboys. This is my shock it off face. Yep. I don't think the Cowboys are going to be winning double-digit games this year. I could see them winning 9, going 9-8, and maybe they sneak into the playoffs. I think 10 wins is going to be a big ask this year. You guys tell me what you think for any of y'all Rangers fans that like watching Cowboys too, or just want to keep hanging out with me for a little bit longer. I really don't feel confident about 10. If you do, that's good. That's good for you because I look at this schedule and I think that the Cowboys have a lot of tough games this year. You play in the first place schedule. I think that it's going to be a rough road to get to 10. Aaron Lamb is not there because, yeah, he's holding out for a bigger contract. The contract is not up, but he's looking around at what some of the other wide receivers in the league are getting paid and did get paid in the offseason. And he is wanting to get that money. So Jerry has been coming out. And look, I think a lot of Cowboys fans have this wrong. A lot of Cowboys fans think Jerry's running the show. It's not Jerry. Jerry is the guy they put out there to get the headlines, but Steven is running this team. Y'all know that, right? We're going to talk more about this once Cowboys season really gets fired up. Steven is running the team. Jerry is out there to get the headlines and to stir the pot, but it's not Jerry making all these moves. But Jerry is doing a great job getting those headlines and keeping the Cowboys relevant. That is Jerry's main job right now at this point, where he's at, his age, all that. That's where it's at. Jerry, get the headlines. Steven runs the team kind of behind closed doors a little bit. You know what I mean? He's visible. But a lot of Cowboys fans make the mistake of thinking it's Jerry pulling all these strings with the transactions. Jerry's just there to get headlines. So I don't know if they're going to pay Lamb before week 1 or not. I don't know if that's going to be happening. I could see Lamb missing week 1, week 2. And maybe Lamb doesn't care. Maybe he is willing to miss some games. You know, you're going to lose out on money. But Lamb maybe just willing to miss some games, whatever. I don't know. If I'm Lamb, I want to get out there week 1. The Cowboys really can't afford to drop games with Lamb being gone. And I don't think if they don't have Lamb, I don't see them winning very many games at all. I feel even worse about their chances if they don't have Lamb in there week 1. Cowboys, of course, their schedule, like I said, a first place schedule. It's not going to be a great season in terms of wins, losses for the Cowboys. They're not going to be winning 12 games. If they win 12 games, I'll die and go to heaven. It is that improbable at this point for me as I look at this schedule that they're going to win 12. You got Browns in Cleveland. You got Saints at home. Then you got Ravens at home. Look, I think they might beat the Saints, but Browns on the road and Ravens at home, I don't feel super great about those. The Browns, I think it could be a win. They might squeak it out, but if you don't have CD, I don't think they will. I could see them easily being 1-2 out the gate. If they're 2-1 out the gate, consider yourself lucky to be a fan watching that. Yeah, I don't feel super confident. in the Cowboys winning 10 plus, but I think they could squeak into the playoffs. I don't feel great about them winning the bowl this year by any means, but I think they could squeak into the playoffs. Announcer said Cowboys had the best offense in the NFL last year. That is crazy. They did. On paper, they did. Now, is it a little bit debatable? Yeah, I do think it is. But they did have the best offense stats wise in the league last year. Yeah, I'm not expecting Zeke to be the savior of the offense either. Zeke is a ground and pound, give me 2 yards on third down guy. Zeke is not the dynamic guy that we drafted out of Ohio State. Although, much like the Rangers getting back like a Robbie Grossman type, it's a feel good move, I think, but that's about it. Hey, hopefully Zeke goes off this year and he finds another gear, figures out that fountain of youth thing, and he's running all over opposing defenses. I would love to see it, not counting on it. Zeke was kind of the big move of the offseason. That's kind of how sad the Cowboys offseason was this year. I'm excited for the football season, though. Y'all know, big Longhorns fan, Cowboys fan as well. We'll do Cowboys, Longhorns. I think what I kind of decided, y'all, by the way, for those of y'all that follow me for Rangers stuff, still going to do Rangers lives, still going to commit to that post-game analysis every game as much as I possibly can, unless I am traveling on the road, that kind of thing for work or out of town with the fam, that kind of thing. But going to try and bring you every post-game for the Rangers the rest of the way. But I do think I am going to try to go live after every Longhorns and Cowboys football game this season. So you might see a little bit of a different crowd here and there. And if you're not a big Cowboys or Longhorns fan, I hope you shelf us for a little bit, catch up on some of our Rangers lives in the offseason that we'll do, talking about the hot stove and the trades and acquisitions and all that. But we will be going pretty much full on football mode with a little bit of Rangers offseason stuff sprinkled in once late August, September rolls around. So just want to throw that out there for you guys. But I hope you'll still hang out. I really do. And if y'all ever want to talk Rangers while I'm doing a Cowboys or a Longhorns live, you know I'm going to take time to talk Rangers. So if you see me going live, you want to hop on, pop something in the comments, Rangers, even though we're talking Cowboys or Longhorns, feel free. Just like we're doing right now. Somebody mentions Cowboys, you know I'm going to talk about it at some point. So, hey, I hope you still keep hanging out, but we will go live after pretty much every Longhorns football game, and we'll go live after every Cowboys game as well, unless there's some extenuating circumstances, of course. So, Aaron, I did see that play for sure. Mahomes is out of this world. I would love to have a guy even close, even in Mahomes' league. I'm not a Dak apologist. I don't think Dak is the worst quarterback in the world. I'm not a Dak hater, but kind of like you hear me talk about on the Rangers, I'll just give you my honest thoughts. I just don't think Dak is going to lead this team to a Super Bowl. I think Dak has had some really, really great teams over his years as the Cowboys starter, and the Cowboys have not been able to get over the hump. I don't see Dak winning the Cowboys a Super Bowl, even if you gave him a 4 or 5 year contract. I don't think it's happening. Prove me wrong, please. But I think Dak has had some very elite teams around him, and he hasn't been able to get it done. I think last year the team was elite. You had Pollard, you had weapons on the outside. I think you had some really, really good people running alongside, and I don't think that Dak was able to get it done, even with excellent, high quality, elite rosters. So I don't see how he's going to be getting it done with a roster this season that's clearly worse off than what it was before. But back to Mahomes. That, to me, Mahomes is a guy that even with a poor-ish roster could probably still win a decent amount of games. I'm not saying that he would be quite as good as he is right now, but I do think Mahomes is an overcomer. I think he is good enough that he could probably overcome a roster like what Dak has right now. I think Mahomes could take this current Cowboys team and probably win 10 or 11 games. I don't know if Dak is that kind of guy. I don't think he is, but I hope he proves me wrong. All right. We'll keep on checking on that Cowboys score, but we're about to get off here, y'all. Back to Rangers, though. This is a good note to end on. Should Langford play center for the rest of the season? Bring Harris up to play left? I think Harris needs to play. I think you need to give Harris a shot for sure. We looked at the stats. He's on the 40 man. Bring him up. Have him play left field. I like Wyatt in center field, no doubt. But I don't know. CY and company don't like to reveal too much until they actually do it. So it's just not going to shock me if they play Leote the rest of the way. Man, I know that Yankees fans, I'm on TikTok right now, y'all looking at comments. Somebody says, Rangers are cooked. Go Yanks. I'm telling you, I don't think the Yankees are going to go very far in October this year. It'll be more fun if they actually do. It's just how it goes. When the Yankees are in the playoffs, it's just more fun. It's more fun when the big names are in there. And then I like watching eventually the smaller market teams knock them off. But when the Yankees, the Phillies, the Dodgers, when those teams are in the playoffs, it's just more fun. I'm not rooting for an all small market team playoff bracket. That to me, no, thank you. I want to see some big names in the playoffs. So I'm not rooting for a big small market playoff bracket. Hope the Yankees make it, and then I hope they burn out in flames. Seriously. I don't know if I could put it any better than that. I hope the Yankees get to the playoffs. They go in on a really high note. They win like their last 4 or 5 games of the season. And then the divisional round rolls around and it's just a big. That's what I'm hoping for. Let's see here. Defense injured and the offensive line worse. Yeah. That is 100% what has happened with the roster for the Cowboys this year, Aaron. The defense, I think they're getting Diggs back right, but I feel like the roster has downgraded really across the board. I feel like they've still got some guys. They added Kendricks, the linebacker, on the defensive side. Look, I could see the Cowboys winning 9 games. I could see 9. I really can't see 10. I can see 9. I think they're probably going to go 8-9 or 9-8. That's my prediction right now. Hope to be wrong. Hope they go, 11-6 or, 12-5 again. That would be great, but I'm having a tough time seeing it. Press play. What's up? Thanks for tuning in. Back-to-back nights. Awesome, man. Thank you. I'm reading in Twitter, Young and Bochy got into a scuffle. What? Oh, and now you're just going to leave us like that, leave us hanging like that. Okay. No, I'm just messing with you, but man, that is wild. If that's true, that is wild. Look, would it shock me if some tensions in the Rangers clubhouse kind of start boiling over? Probably not. I can kind of see something like that happening. They've been such a tight clubhouse, though. It's hard to imagine them coming undone, but at the same time, with how bad this season has gone, it wouldn't surprise me if some emotions start boiling over. It just wouldn't. All right. Cowboys check in on that score one more time, and then we are going to call it a night. So we got 20-12, 1st and 10 at the Vegas 17 with 4 minutes left. Looking pretty good for a Cowboys preseason dub. That'll bring them to 1-1. We're not going to go winless this preseason. Doesn't it feel like the Cowboys are always going like 0-4 in the preseason? Like, seriously. So, hey, looks like we're going to win one. Hopefully. We'll see. There's still 4 minutes left. I should probably knock on wood just in case. Yeah, Aaron, definitely. Signs of a flailing season. I'm sure that there are some tensions in the dugout, in the clubhouse. There's got to be. It can't be all hunky-dory when you're losing in the nature and in the fashion that the Rangers are. It can't be all hunky-dory, but maybe that clubhouse is just so tight-knit. They're sticking together through thick and thin, but They're only human. I could definitely see some tensions running high. You know what would solve that? Winning. Win some freaking games. You're not going to make the playoffs or win the World Series, but win some freaking games down the stretch. That would cure a lot of things and cover a multitude of wrongs this season. Win some games down the stretch. Like I said last night, do it for the fans. Do it for the diehards that are sticking through the entire season and watching game after miserable game. Win some games in August and September. The Rangers' schedule does get a little bit easier, so perhaps they will. We shall see. But we'll be back tomorrow in the afternoon, ready to bring you post-game analysis. If you are not following, not subscribed to the channel, hit that follow or subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. Hit that notification button. Get notified every time we go live. Stay up to date with all of our latest and greatest content when we post reels, shorts, all that good stuff. If you know somebody that loves the Rangers, you know somebody that's a big MLB fan, send them my way. Tell them about the channel. Share one of my videos with them. I would really, really appreciate that. Let's keep growing this community of good people we got, talking Rangers baseball, baseball in general, talking Texas sports. I love it. I love it. Well, hope y'all have a great rest of the Saturday night. Thanks for hanging. Wish we could be hanging under better circumstances, but it is what it is. That's how baseball goes sometime, as Ron Washington used to say. But enjoy your Saturday. Hope you have a good Sunday ahead, whatever it is you got planned. Hope to see you tomorrow after the game. Maybe we'll go live during the game and bring you the play-by-play. We'll see what happens. We'll see how the game's going, all that good stuff. But as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.